Well, hello there. Sion Batson here from Sion Batson Tutoring, and in this video, we will be renaming fractions with a common denominator. Very important concept for all of my 4th and 5th graders, even my students who are taking the GED exam. This video is for you, so join me. Now, this exercise is out of my 5th grade math workbooks. You Can Master 5th grade math, Next Generation Learning Standards, and You Can Master 5th grade math Common Core Edition. Now, both workbooks are filled with very simple and easy to follow notes, step-by-step examples, guided examples, and more than 1,800 practice problems and answers. Parents love these workbooks. Students love these workbooks. The teachers love these workbooks because they are great resources for homework help, for extra practice at home, and they are the ultimate study guides to help your scholars get ready for the 5th grade state exam. So if you have a 5th grader, I would highly recommend that you get them a copy. You can grab your copy from Amazon. Now, to our exercise. Now, renaming fractions with a common denominator. This is a very, very important concept that you must master, because the common denominator will help you compare fractions that have different denominators, and the common denominator will also help you add and subtract fractions that have different denominators. So it's very important that you master this concept. Yes? Now, I will teach you 3 very simple steps that will help you master this concept. Just 3. Now, here is the first step. For the first step, we will list multiples for each denominator. That will be the first step. Now, we will list about 5 or 6 multiples for each denominator. Sometimes you might have to list more than 5 or 6, but 5 or 6 is a very good starting point. Okay. Now, once we list multiples for each denominator, we will choose a common multiple. Now, the common multiple will be the multiple that belongs to both denominators. In other words, when you list your multiples, the common multiple is the multiple that will be in both lists. Make sense? Now, the common multiple, we will use the common multiple as the new denominator. So keep that in mind. Okay? Now, once we have our common multiple, which will be our new denominator, we will multiply to find the numerators. 3 simple steps. Let's try one. So the first example here, we are going to rename 2/3 and 1/4 with a common denominator. So the first step, the very first step, will be to list multiples for each denominator. So like I said, we will start with at least 5 or 6. Sometimes you might have to list more than 5 or 6, right? But for the most part, 5 or 6 multiples should work. So let's see. Let's list some multiples of our first denominator here, which is 3. The multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Yes? Now let's list some multiples of 4. So multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So we have successfully completed step 1. Now, step 2 will be to choose a common multiple. Now, remember we said the multiple will be the multiple that's in both lists. Now, do you see any common multiples, or do you see any multiple that's in both lists? Do you see it? Yes, it is 12. Get the idea? Now, this 12 right here, this will be our new denominator. Oh yes. Very simple concept, but very important. So we have our new denominator, 12. Now, we are going to use this 12 or this new denominator to rename our fractions. Okay? So we will rename the fractions one at a time. So the first fraction that we are renaming is 2/3. Yes? Now, the new denominator will be 12 because that's the common multiple. Now, if you look at the new fraction that we are going to be using here, what is missing? Do you see what is missing? The numerator. How do we find the numerator? Well, step 3 says to find the numerator, we will multiply. What do we multiply? We will use the denominators to help us. We ask ourselves, 3 times what? What gives me 12? 3 times 4. Now check this out. If I multiply the denominators by 4, I have to multiply the numerators by 4 as well. So I'm going to multiply by 4. And 2 times 4 is 8. So I have my first new fraction, 8/12. Now, let's rename the second fraction. We have 1/4. So when we rename the fractions, all we are doing is we're giving them a new denominator and a new numerator. Yes? So now, again, our new denominator is going to be 12, of course. And again, for the new fraction, the numerator is missing. How do we find the numerator? We are going to multiply. What do we multiply by? We will use our denominators to help us. The denominator says we can multiply 4 times 3 to get 12. Yeah? Now, if we multiply the denominators by 3, we have to multiply the numerators by 3 as well. So 1 times 3 is 3. Yes? So our new fraction here is 3/12. How was that? Make sense? All right. Let's try another one. What's very important though, and I tell my students this all the time, especially my 4th grade students, don't try to jump the gun. Don't try to rush ahead. Go step by step. Now, let's try 2/5. Yeah? And let's say 1/2. How is that? First step, we will list multiples for each denominator. So we'll start with 5. What are some multiples of 5? Well, we know it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Now we list some multiples of 2. So multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So far, so good. Now, let's find step 2. We'll choose a common multiple. The common multiple will be the multiple that's in both lists. Yes? What's a common multiple here? Do you see any multiple that belongs to both lists? Yes. There's a 10 right here. So this 10 now, what do we do with this 10? Do you remember from the first example? This 10 becomes our new denominator. Oh yes, our new denominator. So we are going to rename our old fractions with 10 as the new denominator. All right, let's go. So the first fraction is 2/5. And step 3 says we have to multiply to find the numerators, right? So we know that for the first fraction, the new denominator will be 10. Right? But what is missing in the new fraction? The numerator. How do we find the numerator? We will multiply. What do we multiply by? We will use the denominators to help us. In the denominators, we know that 5 times 2 will get you 10. So if I am multiplying in the denominator by 2, I have to come and multiply the numerator by 2 as well. 2 times 2 is 4. Get the idea? Next one, we have 1/2. Yes, new fraction here, the new denominator, sorry, will be 10. In the new fraction, the numerator is missing. Yes? How do we find the new numerator? Well, we use again the denominators to help us. Yeah? So let's see. 2 times 5 is 10. If I multiply in the denominator by 10, I must multiply my numerator by 10 as well. Or if I multiply my denominator by 5, I must multiply my numerator by 5 as well. 5 times 1 is 5. Yes? If I multiply by 5 at the bottom, I must multiply by 5 at the top. Yeah? You must multiply by the same number at the top and at the bottom. Make sense? Now, this is what I want you guys to do for me. I want you guys to try one. How exciting is that? All right. I'm going to give you 1/4. 1/4. And I'm going to give you, let's do 5/6. I want you now to do what? Go step by step. Don't you dare skip any steps. Go step by step and try it. If you want to, you can go back and watch the 2 previous examples, yes, and then come back and try it. But what's most important is for you to go step by step. Pause the video. Now, welcome back. Let's see if we will get the same answer. Now, the first step will be to list multiples for each denominator. So we list about 5 or 6 multiples of 4, yeah? The multiples of 4 are 4, what? 8, 12, 16, yeah? We have what? 20. We have what? 24. Yeah? All right. Now the multiples of 6. We have what? 6. We have 12. Excuse me. We have 12. We have 18. We have 24. We have 30. We have 36. We just listing multiples here. Yeah. Now we have successfully listed multiples for each denominator. Right? Next step will be to choose a common multiple. The common multiple will be a multiple that's in both lists. Do you see any common multiples here? I see some. I see 12. And I also see 24. Did you guys see 12 and 24 as well? Oh, very good. Now, question. You can use either 12 or 24 as your common multiple. However, it's always better to choose the smallest common multiple. Yes? So whenever you do your list, and you have more than one common multiples, always choose the smallest common multiple, okay? So we will choose 12. Now, if you chose 24 when you did the example, it's still fine. But for a practice, always choose the smallest common multiple, okay? So we will choose 12. Let's see now. So we will, now, this 12 will be our new denominator. Yes? And we will now rewrite or rename our fractions with 12 as the new denominator. Fun stuff. Fun stuff here. Now, for the new fraction, what is missing? The numerator. How do we find the numerator? We will multiply and let the denominators help us. Well, we know that 4 times 3 will give you 12. So if we multiply the denominator here by 3, we must multiply this numerator by 3. 1 times 3 is 3. Now, let's go to the second fraction. We have 5/6. Our new denominator is going to be 12. Again, the numerator is missing. So we multiply to help us find the new numerator. Yeah? Our numerator is missing here. So we'll multiply to find it. We will use the denominators to help us. We know that 6 times 2 is 12. So if we multiply this denominator by 12, we must multiply this if we multiply this denominator by 2, we must multiply this numerator by 2 as well. Okay? Excuse me there. 5 times 2 is 10. So we have our two new fractions. How is that? Good? Great job! I really hope you guys enjoy this video here. Yeah? I really hope you guys found it useful. Yeah? I really hope you guys found it useful. Right? This is a very important concept. Very important concept. Why? Because you will use the common denominator to help you, again, compare fractions that have different denominators. Help the common denominator will also help you add and subtract fractions that have different denominators. So it's very important that you master this concept. Now, again, this exercise is out of my 5th grade math workbooks. You can master 5th grade math, next generation learning standards, and you can master 5th grade math, Common Core edition. Great work. Both workbooks are great for extra practice at home and for homework help, and to help you also get ready for the 5th grade state exams. Okay? So if you have a 5th grader, get them a copy and let them practice as much as possible. Okay? Again, until next time, enjoy your math homework and remember to practice. See you.